Coming up on LUTV News, the bomb threat investigation that affected Francis Howell North students has been resolved. We'll bring you all the details.
Plus, are you in search of a job? Lindenwood University hosted a career fair. Find out what was being offered.
And we traveled back in time to Daniel Boone's early days at the Lindenwood Boone home this past weekend. We'll bring you the latest and a taste of the celebration.
Those stories plus sports, weather and more ahead on LUTV News.
Welcome to this edition of LUTV News. I'm Taylor Gordon.
And I'm Jonathan Davis.
The investigation for the Francis Howell North bomb threat is over. Police say the bomb threat that evacuated Francis Howell North High School on Monday was a hoax. The threat was discovered at 10:45 a.m., scribbled on a bathroom wall. Students and staff were immediately bused to Francis Howell Central Monday, and they returned at FHN at 1, and normal after-school events took place. Classes were held and school was back in session on Tuesday.
Charges were made after a toilet papering prank went wrong. Daniel Beauchamp has been charged with 3 counts of unlawful use of a weapon after an incident Sunday. It began when Beauchamp saw several individuals in his yard with toilet paper. He grabbed his shotgun and the individuals fled the scene. Around the same time, Beauchamp's neighbour was coming home. After attempting to stop her, Beauchamp fired his gun, puncturing his neighbour's tyre. He is currently being held at St. Charles City Jail with a $20,000 bond.
A Wentzville man with a law degree is under investigation for the 6 robberies of 6 banks. 64-year-old Warren Gladders is in jail for allegedly robbing the first bank in Dutzow, Missouri on Friday. Police say he was also arrested for shooting a state trooper. After the search of his home, investigators found evidence of other crimes. The evidence was given to the FBI to finish the investigation.
2 men have been charged with second-degree murder and armed robbery after a hold-up attempt in St. Louis led to a fatal shooting. On Monday evening, 20-year-old Joshua Hunter and Jamal Robinson and a third accomplice tried to shoot a jogger and his girlfriend in Forest Park. The jogger, a St. Charles deputy, used his gun in self-defense when he saw the 3 men approach with a weapon. One of the men, 18-year-old Antonio Nash, was killed in the incident, whilst Hunter and Robinson are currently hospitalized with bullet wounds. Police say the deputy appeared to be justified in using the lethal force.
Police are investigating a shooting at St. Louis High School. St. Louis police say a student was shot outside Vashon High School Wednesday morning. The school is at 3000 Cass Avenue in North St. Louis. The shooting occurred just after 8 a.m. and police say it may have been a 17-year-old student.
Kenya begins 3 days of mourning Wednesday after the Nairobi mall siege. The siege resulted in the death of at least 67 civilians and security personnel. It is still unclear how many hostages have died. 3 floors of the mall collapsed, leaving an unknown amount of bodies buried in the rubble. Statements from both Kenyan government and Al-Shabaab have made it unclear who had the upper hand in the attack. A tweet believed to be from Al-Shabaab blames the Kenyan government for the deaths of the 137 hostages.
The vast majority of Americans find threat of government shutdown unacceptable. According to a poll by the New York Times and CBS News, 8 in 10 Americans disapprove of the measure. Fewer than 1 in 5 citizens thinks the standoff between Obama and the Republicans in Congress is acceptable. A government shutdown would likely cost the U.S. government several $100 million. On top of that, all 368 national parks would be shut down. The government is looking to avert the shutdown, which is scheduled for October 1st.
Lane closures will be in effect as crews complete the Blanchette Bridge. The Missouri Department of Transportation says to expect lane closures on I-70 while crews complete final details on the bridge. Starting at 4 a.m. Wednesday, crews are reinstalling the guardrail of the median on the highway. 1 lane westbound on I-70 was closed until 10 a.m. last Wednesday. Drivers should expect 1 lane to be closed eastbound on I-70 until Wednesday evening.
The City of St. Peters is seeking feedback for construction plans. There is currently a revised plan to move to a one-way outer road system beside I-70 between Cave Springs and Mid-Rivers Mall Drive. The new plan would also have drivers heading westbound on the north outer road to get on to Highway 370. Plans for the changes will be presented to the public on October 2nd at St. Peters City Hall.
Police arrested one St. Charles County man for attempting to burglarize a home while the owners were there. Investigators say 18-year-old Alex Stigall and a friend broke into the home on the 400 block of the Southbridge Drive near St. Peters. He was previously charged in August for receiving stolen property and in May for physically taking property from another person. Stigall is charged with first-degree burglary and is held on a $50,000 cash-only bond at the St. Charles County Jail.
Straight ahead on LUTV News, looking for a new job? Find out what students discovered in the hunt for jobs at the Lindenwood Career Fair.
We'll have that story plus weather and sports ahead.
I'm one unlucky guy. The chance of being involved in a robbery is 1 in 757. The chances of being struck by lightning. 1 in 750,000.
Please fasten your seatbelts for unexpected turbulence.
The chances of being a victim in an airline crash? 1 in 29 million. Hey, could I get some peanuts? The chances of being involved in a car crash are far greater than lightning strikes and plane crashes. And if you are texting while driving, your risk of crash increases 23 times. Now, I may be an unlucky guy, but I don't have to be part of that statistic, and neither do you. Drive responsibly.
Texas Governor Rick Perry just can't seem to stay away from Missouri. The former presidential candidate will be in St. Charles for the Conservative Political Action Conference. CPAC will also host presidential candidate Rick Santorum and anti-tax advocate Grover Norquist. The conference is scheduled for Saturday at St. Charles Convention Center. Tickets are $25 for students and $50 for general admission.
Political season is still 3 years away, but the race for governor is already underway. Catherine Hanaway is considering a bid for Missouri's governor mansion. Hanaway's made history a decade ago, becoming the first female House Speaker in the state history. The Republican candidate also served as a U.S. attorney and narrowly lost the race for Secretary of State back in 2004.
Lindenwood University hosted a career fair at the Evans Commons this Wednesday. The fair was open to Lindenwood students and alumni who could meet a lot of employers in a short period of time. Various companies from the area came to Lindenwood to give students the chance to build up relationships and network. Students looking for internships, part-time jobs, or full-time professional employment during the event. According to the Director of Career Development, Dana Worley, she was saying that networking is an important factor when preparing for the job search.
The goal of Career Fair is to link students with employers. We give them the opportunity to build those all-important relationships in order to begin preparing for their job search.
The Career Fair opened from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Wednesday, but if you missed it, there might be some more coming up in the future.
A cave-dwelling fish only found in the southeast Missouri is now on the list of endangered species. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service did not declare the grotto sculpin's habitat in Perry Country as critical. Protection measures are not required, but the service will rely on voluntary conservation plans. That includes the improvement of water quality in the habitat because it is threatened by pollutants.
A new St. Louis-based organization will host Hackathon. Global Hack, the organizer, is in charge of the event in the St. Louis area. A two-day competition will test a series of computer programming competitions which designers, developers, and entrepreneurs will focus in different areas. A $1 million prize package will be given to those who are able on resolving problems for various St. Louis companies.
Two Missouri House members will hold a public meeting on Thursday night regarding plans to fill the Bridgeton landfill fire. The waste fire has been burning continually in St. Louis County for 3 years. However, concerns from Republic Services Incorporated, who own the landfill, want to make sure the fire does not spread any further as radioactive waste resides nearby. State Representative Rory Ellinger and Bill Otto, along with other speakers, are convening the public session at 7 p.m. in the University City.
Missouri's largest healthcare provider likely won't be a part of the state's new healthcare insurance exchange that opens for enrollment next week. Area health brokers and consultants expect that BJC Healthcare will be excluded from the online insurance exchange. The St. Louis Post-Dispatch reports that this is due to providers' high medical charges. BJC operates Barnes Jewish Hospice and St. Louis Children's Hospital, making it one of the largest employers in the region.
Federal numbers are out for how the Affordable Health Care Act will affect Missourians. The Department of Health and Human Services say that a family of 4 earning $50,000 could face average monthly premiums of $800. Missouri is one of 36 states letting the federal government run their health insurance exchanges. Missourians could have the fewer policy choices than other residents in most states.
The Department of Education awarded Keysore Elementary School as a Blue Ribbon School Tuesday. The award honors schools whose students achieve high levels and have made big progress in closing achievement gaps. Besides Keysore, other schools such as Brentwood High School, Sappington Elementary, and Messiah Lutheran School received the award as well. In Illinois, Scott Elementary School, Air Force Base received the national honor.
Muskets being shot, cannons being fired, and folks speaking Old English. It isn't too often you can find a chance to step back into the past when Daniel Boone was living.
LUTV's David Amilati visited the Daniel Boone home for Pioneer Days. He joins us in our studio to bring us all the details. David?
This past weekend, the Daniel Boone home hosted Pioneer Days, an all-day event celebrating Daniel Boone himself, as well as the quality of life in the early 19th century. Residing in Defiance, Missouri, the Daniel Boone home allows visitors to travel back into the early 1800s when Boone himself moved to the area with his family. Visitors can walk next to actors portraying average citizens, blacksmiths honing their craft, and maybe catch a 19th century fashion show. Adjunct Professor William Ray says the weekend festivities involve more than just the life of Boone.
What we try and do here is we try and really portray that last period of Daniel Boone's life. And Daniel, of course, passes away in 1820. Missouri statehood is in 1821. So there are really a lot of things going on. Most of the people that come out here really don't have an idea of exactly how complex not only that time period was in general, but specifically in this area.
For the weekend celebration, the site is filled with an enthusiastic staff that transports visitors to 1819. Not only do those passing around the various demonstrations and activities get to witness a representation of day-to-day life, they may also find themselves speaking with Daniel Boone himself. Standing on the 1,000-acre property of Lindenwood University, the Daniel Boone home, originally a mere 400 acres when Daniel himself moved out here in the 19th century, a man who has a legend built around himself, today celebrated at Pioneer Day. Barney Coombs is a volunteer of Lindenwood University and has been assuming the role of Daniel Boone for the last 7 years. He believes that with the university's involvement, the atmosphere is more professional and the site itself is a more accurate historical representation. Coombs has been asked hundreds of questions about the legend, but he has a favorite question he has yet to be asked.
I wish people would ask me more about his personal life. You know, they're more interested in the battles he was in or going through the Cumberland Gap, but his family life, even though he traveled a lot and he was gone, he had a very strong family unit. They were really close, and that's something we don't have much today.
Pioneer Day has passed, but the Boone home has another event quickly approaching. On October 19th, Halloween Spirits from the Past will be allowing visitors to learn about the superstition and myths that filled early life in the 1800s. For LUTV News, I'm David Amilati.
John, I'm not sure about you, but I could definitely do without the humidity.
I'll say, I could agree. I mean, I could cut this weather with a knife right now. David, what's the forecast?
Well, students will soon notice a slight rise in temperatures and possibly more clouds. I'll have an update in the future forecast up next.
1997, in Johannesburg, South Africa, an 8-year-old boy picked up the game of golf from his father. By the age of 9, he was already outplaying him. The odds of this gentle lad winning the Junior World Golf Championships at the age of 14, 1 in 16 million. The odds of that same boy then making it to the US and European Pro Golf Tours, 1 in 7 million. The odds of the Big Easy winning the Open Championship once and the US Open Championship twice, 1 in 780 million. The odds of this professional golfer having a child diagnosed with autism, 1 in 88. Ernie Els encourages you to learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference.
Almost a week into the fall season, the heat is still here to keep us company. If we take a look at our current conditions map, rain is no longer a concern as a heat wave is making its way through the northwest. Let's bring up our 5-day forecast. The rest of Wednesday is going to continue to be cloudy. Thursday will be in the low 80s, joined with a clear sky, sunny sky. Friday, the clouds will make their way back for most of the day with temperatures in the mid-80s and a low of 59. Bringing us into the weekend, which will have mostly cloudy skies. Saturday will feature highs in the mid-80s and a low of 56. On Sunday, we will see temperatures dip into the low 70s for the high. Low of the day will be around 45. That's all I have for weather today. For LUTV News, I'm David Amlotti.
Up next in sports, the Cardinals are getting ready for the playoffs, and the Lindenwood Lions football team is getting ready for their next big game at home after being away for 23 days. We're at Hunter Stadium, and we have those stories and more coming up next on LUTV Sports.
NFC, AFC, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all living united to ensure the academic success of millions of kids in our communities all the way to graduation day. But that won't happen without you. So take the pledge at unitedway.org. Make a difference in the life of a child. Suit up like your favorite NFL players and become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor with United Way.
What if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow.
My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.